that right, 83 people, at least 83 people, have died in a massive Spain and Morocco border crisis. And it seems that within a 24-hour period, 50 to 60,000 migrants ended up breaching the border.
This is what you need to know now. A breakthrough in Gaza. President Trump touting what he says is a historic deal with new details about the 50,000 migrants who surged into the Spanish city of Ceuta on the North African coast. Authorities now say at least 72 of those migrants have died, some drowning, while others were killed in a stampede. Foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burge is tracking the story from Paris. Tom, great to see you. The scale of this crossing is becoming clearer. What are we learning about that, and also about how many of the migrants have been returned to Morocco?
Yes, Stephanie, it is, I think, clear now that the vast majority of the migrants who crossed, more than 50,000 according to Spanish officials, on Thursday, have been returned to Morocco voluntarily or otherwise. Exactly how many remain in that small Spanish enclave surrounded by Morocco in North Africa isn't exactly clear, I think, at this point in time. But we have heard from the head of the regional government in Ceuta, talking to a Spanish newspaper, and he said on Saturday that he believed there were about 5,000 migrants left in that small Spanish territory. I think it's clear that most of them are sleeping on the streets, in parks. They are being helped by some local residents, but I think, according to local officials, there was a lot of fear in that small Spanish enclave because the scale of this is completely unprecedented. The issue of people crossing, migrants crossing from Morocco into these small Spanish enclaves. There's one called Ceuta, where this incident happened on Thursday. There's another called Melilla. I've been there in the past and reported from there. This is not a new phenomenon. This has gone on for decades, but the scale of this, more than 50,000 people, is absolutely unprecedented. It caught everyone by surprise, and a huge amount of the migrants crossing this time appear to have been Moroccan, whereas when I covered the story about 10 years ago, it was more sub-Saharan migrants who were encamped in Morocco who on occasions would storm towards the border and try to cross. But even then, the Moroccan authorities and the Spanish authorities working together were always able to prevent something on this huge, huge scale, which really has rocked Spain, rocked Ceuta, and I think, to some extent sent shockwaves across Europe.
Now, the main thing I want to know is what caused this mass wave. Like they said before, they said that this is constantly happening. So there are constantly people crossing or breaching the border, just like the United States, or not so much anymore. But what made the 50 to 60,000 is a crazy number to think about. All running at the border and breaching it in 24 hours? Was this like an organized event? Did someone get to plan this? And at least as of right now, at least 80 people have died. It's a tragic situation. But let's keep going and see what else we can figure out.
Absolutely. And what led to the border surge in the first place? Have we seen anything like this before?
It's a great question. I think that's what everyone's sort of scratching their heads about now. How did this happen? How were tens of thousands of people able to get so close to that border? Then they were able to get into the sea and basically swim a very short distance across. Tragically, at least 72 people were killed. But if you think about it, 50,000, more than 50,000 crossed via that sea route in that short swim. And many were, in flippers, wetsuits. It appears this was highly coordinated. And now, according to the head of the regional government in Ceuta, in his interview with a Spanish newspaper, he has blamed the Moroccan authorities for kind of standing by. He says that they didn't orchestrate this mass influx of migrants, but he says that they allowed it to happen. Now, that is not the line of the Spanish government, the central government in Madrid. The Spanish Prime Minister on Friday, when he was in the Spanish enclave of Ceuta, he was blaming criminal gangs and saying they had taken advantage of and misinterpreted a court ruling in Spain last month, which basically said that anyone trying to swim across from Morocco into these Spanish enclaves in North Africa, basically couldn't be repatriated back to Morocco immediately. And also the Moroccan authorities, quoted by Spanish news agencies, they have also pushed back on that idea. They have also blamed criminal gangs and said that Morocco's cooperation with the Spanish authorities remains very strong on migration issues.
Just a massive.
This is a crazy situation, unprecedented, like they said. But it's not just the United States that faces border issues and people wondering about illegal migration or illegal immigrants breaching the border. 50 to 60,000 at one time in 24 hours. I wonder how that compares to the numbers that people were talking about during the Biden administration. We might look at that at AI breakdown. Let's get over into this next video and see what else it tells us.
After tens of thousands of migrants breached a Spanish enclave last week, look at this, a 1,600-foot containment fence going up in Spain. At least 67 people died rushing that border. CBS News international reporter Aidan Stretch joins us now. So Aidan, your reporting's just been dogged on this. What can you tell us about this fence?
Hi, Reed. So this fence is a 500-yard floating sea barrier. And the reason they're putting it up there is that this distance between the Morocco border and Spain's North African enclave of Ceuta is actually quite short at points. We spoke to migrants when we were there on Friday who said that at some points it was just a 10-meter swim to swim right around the border and reach Spanish territory. So the idea here is building this border, lengthening it out to deter future migrants from making that swim.
So where are these people now?
Well, most of them are back in Morocco. Spain's government says that 48,000 of the roughly 50,000 migrants who made the trip late last week have now returned home to Morocco or elsewhere in North Africa, many of them doing so voluntarily. We spoke to migrants on Friday when we were there who told us that they had come after seeing social media posts that made them believe that a recent Spanish Supreme Court ruling would allow them to receive asylum when they arrived in Spain. But when they arrived and found that not to be true, Spain's military and police made it clear that they had to go home. Once many of them realized that they wouldn't be welcome to move on to mainland Spain, they decided to go back over the border to Morocco.
All right, Aidan Stretch following this and other international.
Absolutely crazy. Now that we do have some more recent video about this, so let's get over into it. So this is just them on the beaches. Let's get over into the AI breakdown, y'all, just to see what else we can find out about this whole case. So, as we know, a total death toll at the Spain-Morocco border crisis has risen to at least 83 people. That's 72 people reported on the Spanish side and 11 people reported by the Moroccan authorities. See, the victims primarily drowned or were crushed in the stampede while attempting to cross. So an unprecedented 50 to 60,000 migrants breached the border of the tiny Spain enclave of Ceuta. I'm not good with my words. Over a 24-hour period. The Spanish Interior Ministry reports that the vast majority of the migrants had already returned or had been escorted back to Morocco. Spain deployed its armed forces and quickly installed a new 500-meter-long sea containment barrier along the breakwater fence to block future swimming routes. So several critical developments and underlying causes regarding the deaths and aftermaths have been released. So we know that the death toll, rose to 72 after the civil guard recovered 5 more bodies. The local medical personnel have treated more than 1,000 injured migrants suffering from hypothermia, deep cuts from the border fence, and exhaustion since Thursday. Among those confirmed deaths on the Moroccan side is Fatin Ben Omar El Aziz, a prominent professional soccer player for the Moroccan Athletic Tanger Club. Wow. So Moroccan and Spanish authorities state that the human trafficking network spread coordinated misinformation online, tricking tens of thousands of believing that the border was permanently open. In tandem to the rumors, a recent Spanish judicial ruling regarding immigration was widely misinterpreted by the immigrant network, causing mass and simultaneous rush to the sea to bypass the land blockade. While adult migrants have mostly been repatriated, while adult migrants have mostly been returned home, between 3,000 to 5,000 migrants remain trapped. The local adults and the youth reception center have completely collapsed under the pressure. Authorities are processing 862 unaccompanied minors because Spanish law grants minors strict legal protection against immediate deportation. Hundreds remain stranded in the enclave, deeply traumatized after witnessing family members drown during the crossing. Morocco's Interior Ministry denied responsibility for it, claiming that its forces were overwhelmed by the influx of nearly 40,000 people moving simultaneously. And then we got the local leadership publicly labeled the mass crossing as a facade, basically, by the Moroccan politicians. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro issued a sharp letter blaming European Union. See, they're just blaming people at this point. So I did want to see how this compared to the daily crossings in the United States. Because, comparing the surge to the historical mass crossing of the United States border. Let's see. So in the single day, we got the peak was around 12,000. So, so at least four times in a 24-hour period. 4 times more. It's a crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Who are they going to blame? It seems like they're pointing fingers at everyone, but the system is strained when so many people come in all at once, wanting to be helped, wanting to be provided for, needing assistance. It puts a tremendous strain on the system and it just breaks. Obviously, the majority of them had to return home, and majority of them went home just willingly. But there's still a lot of people, more people there than they are able to take care of. And this is why border security is important.